What's good, my peoples? Today's episode is sponsored by Coco Vida Coquito. Do you love delicious drinks that are made with all natural ingredients? Then you're gonna want to try Coco Vida Coquito, the Puerto Rican version of eggnog that tastes even better. This delicious drink is made with fresh ground cinnamon, pure vanilla, and coconut, and it's perfect for any occasion. Whether you're having a party with friends or just want to relax at home, Coco Vida Coquito will give you that holiday feeling all year round. And the best part, you can get your hands on a bottle right now by going to cocovidacoquito.com. That's COCOVIDACOQUITO.com. And by entering the promo code KBGB to receive 10% off your next purchase. So what you waiting for? Head over to Coco Vida Coquito's Instagram page and give them a follow to stay up to date on all the latest deals and events. And don't forget to order your bottle today to taste the richness and love of Puerto Rico in every sip.
Evan, you went crazy, you went crazy.
To the Know Better Grow Better show. This is your favorite host, Jamila, aka Miss Resource, and I'm followed with my favorite host, Sean, aka Mr. Coquito. Welcome, Sean.
What's good? What's good? And today we have a very, very, very special guest, which is Jamila and I favorite. So much to say about her, but her name is Angie, aka This Bronx Girl Writes. Mm-hmm. She is a writer, a published writer. Let me get that right.
Emphasis on published.
Emphasis on published, and has been doing very great things in her articles, in her voice. And just go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Who are you?
So where do I even begin? Yeah, I'm basically been writing for like now 10, 11 years. I have like a passion for educating our people, so it's basically for people of color. I also have been dropping audio because I know that's what the people want, right? So that's why we're also here today.
That's why we're
here.
We
that's
got
why
the
we're
podcast.
here. Yeah, because people want to know the face behind the writing. So I'm finally showing my face behind the writing. I thought that there was like some mystery to me not showing my face until like I sat down with my mentors and they were like, you have to make an Instagram.
God damn it, they love you even more.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's what happened. So here I am today.
Yay.
Got it. So the writing has a voice. I mean, the
writing
writing is a voice, but the writing has an actual voice.
Exactly. Now it has an
and
actual
a face.
voice. Yep, and a face.
Got it. Wait, so have you ever showed your face?
I have shown my face because of Instagram. And it started maybe 6 months ago now. I have
recent,
yeah. So I was anti-Instagram for a while. I hadn't had Instagram for 7 years. And then I actually very strong. There's a story behind why I didn't have Instagram.
You like stories.
Yes, there is a juicy story behind it.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I was laying low and I was like, you know what? I think I can come back out. So when I bumped into my mentor, we had a conversation and I was like, well, I actually started my personal Instagram and that's how I was sharing my writing. I wanted to be able to reach people that were really interested in it. So a lot of people were reading my blogs, but it was either just because they known me from my past life. Yeah. They kind of wanted to know what I was up to, but they weren't keeping up with it. When I started This Bronx Girl Writes, a lot of people were actually tuning in.
Yeah, I want to hear what she's talking about.
Yep.
That's what's up. But definitely, before we get into you, right? Jamila and I always have this segment called Straighten It Out, right? And on this segment, we just have this little debate on our views and stuff like that. But now we got a guest, so you got to jump into this middle and tell us your thoughts.
Okay, I'll straighten it out.
So it's funny because we started the conversation on the way here, just getting something to drink, but we was like, wait, let's stop. Let's just continue this conversation. So Sean and I went out last night, and we was at a restaurant, and it was a busy time. You know, holidays, you get really busy. But we had a horrible experience. Like, we always go to this restaurant, and it's always great service or great food, and then the service was just horrible.
Okay.
So it's like, do you give them the grace because it was busy in there? Or is it just, no, you need to be on top of it because it's busy? Like, where's the giveaway for it?
And the busy part was, so it was Mother's Day. This will come out weeks later, but it was Mother's Day.
Okay.
So so you was in the hospitality, or you are in the hospitality
And that's why
industry
it's
too.
like perfect.
Okay.
So
I say that sometimes we do have to give grace. I give grace to servers and bartenders, and you guys know I give the grace because I've worked in the industry for a long time. I'm back in the industry, unfortunately. But I do think that people have to give grace when it's those special occasions. Big restaurants and chain restaurants usually don't have the most reliable service, which is something that people don't know. So I do give my money to small mom and pop, restaurants and stuff like that, because it's more of a family feel. So when you're going for those special occasions, I say go there, because
I'm on. This is why I'm on the fence about it, right? Because I'd rather you give me good service, and I'd rather wait longer, knowing that it's busy, than trying to rush it, get my food on the normal time that you would when it's not busy. So this way, I may have waited an extra 20 minutes, but I know my food is going to come out hot. The drinks are going to come out, cold, made with love, versus just, let's rush it out. So it comes out at the same 10 to 15 minute speed. Yeah. Right? Knowing that, because the holidays is not a surprise, right? So not. And I understand. I'm being a little. I just want to say I understand that the hospitality industry
being a little bit anal.
Has
just a little bit
has like high turnovers and stuff like that. But at the same time, listen, that's something they have to face. And if it's a chain, they know it's coming. You know the holidays.
And I'm getting food, so why I don't have forks for my food?
Right, which goes back to like what I think that a lot of people call out with major chain restaurants. They give a lot of opportunities too. So with a mom and pop shop, you kind of have that family field where like everybody knows on this day we're gonna make money, guys. So let's make sure we come to work. So with a big chain restaurant, it's not that familiar feel. So I don't know. I feel like for major holidays, you gotta know exactly where you're going. Almost even know the restaurant owner if possible, because it's somebody's always gonna call out, especially like Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July weekend. People are always calling out.
So for that, just close on that day. I know they're gonna lose out on money, but don't give me
bad
pissy service.
Yeah.
Or at least put that service somewhere else.
Yeah.
Doing something else. Like we had a really our old server was amazing. He was walking around taking pictures. Yet the girl who's running us forgot that we needed utensils to eat.
I would have started eating with my hands.
But just like, we shouldn't have to.
Right,
and we asked for it. Like, it was like we had to find her. It was just too much.
I don't know.
That sounds like a bad experience.
It was. And the food came out cold.
We had to send it back.
The drinks came out a little bit less than should have. The glass wasn't even full.
It was like half a cup of, like,
what?
Like I normally go and it's usually a full cup of whatever I'm drinking.
It was half a cup. She had a mixed drink.
It was half a cup. I'm looking at it like, and she was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Where's the rest of it?"
You see, that's a little crazy. I'm so sorry. I wish you guys would have went to where I went. So I went to a smaller restaurant, everybody, and it was a great experience, But it's also, we know the people, and it's also.
So that's cheating.
It's kind of a cheat code,
Right,
but I know you guys know a lot of people, so.
But I think if we had Angie there, because we went out 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And she was like, bring the server, because your drink was what, like too sweet?
It was really sweet. It was really sweet. Yeah.
And she told her what to do, and it came out awesome.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes these people want to work in the industry and they don't necessarily know what they're doing. They just know that it's fast money, which it is a great way to make money, but they don't take into account that it is a lot of work. You get tired. It's a job that is draining. Yeah.
I know.
So I think people go into it and it's like, okay, let me be a server. Let me be a bartender. And it's like, okay, guys, but
I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, you actually have to like what you're doing.
They think it's easy. Trust me.
And it's not.
Listen, I was a chef for 10 years, working in the kitchen, working 60 hours minimum. It was crazy.
60
I wanna
hours
cook
is
in my own
crazy.
house sometimes. Me a
Yeah.
But
chef.
the front of the house
Mm.
always made more money than me. That's when I definitely knew. I was like, they're working like 30 hours, making double the amount of money.
Yeah, actually, my sister transitioned from a manager to a server, and she's making more
Making more
money.
money?
She's making,
That's
and it's less
ridiculous.
draining on your body too.
Mhm.
So
You in and out. Come here 4 to 6 hours, you out.
you're out, and you can call out whenever you
Mhm.
want. You can call out. You see what happened to you
All
I
guys?
have
Yeah.
abundance of servers. Right?
Exactly.
Angie said we have to give grace.
I say give a little bit of grace on those
Nah,
holidays.
nah.
Sean, you have
Coming
to.
from the industry, nah, you gotta put. If you know these holidays
No
are coming
excuses?
up, there's no excuse for it.
I feel like I'm a little biased, so I don't think we're gonna.
Wait,
have
wait,
to,
wait, wait,
Eh,
wait, 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 no, no.
No, let me
Wait,
add
wait.
this. Let me add this. Let me add this. We're at a chain restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I would give the mom and pops grace, but
Yes.
not the chain.
The thing about the chain too is like what I told you guys. They don't have a team that's like,
Committed.
exactly a committed team, and they don't have that feel. They don't necessarily have the relationship with the owner, with the managers, and it's always a revolving door.
Nah, get out of here.
So I tried.
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
I'm
Angie,
sorry.
because
Okay, yes, yes.
Angie, because
Okay.
we was out the other night and our server was too busy twerking versus
she
coming
was.
back to give us our drink,
She
and you was
was.
like, "Watch you over there dancing." When I'm waiting for
Yeah.
my drink.
Yeah, because
So
I spoke
where was
to
the
her.
grace then?
I spoke to her. Remember, I gave her the grace when she gave
And
me.
you gave her the heart talk.
Wait,
Yeah,
but
I gave her a
technically
hard talk.
speaking, that it's a mom and pops establishment.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
is.
Oh.
You see, so technically it's a mom and not that I'm giving her grace as an individual, but it's a mom and pops.
Yeah, with like that particular too, I feel like we spoke with her, right? Like
You sat her down and was like, "Time out.
yeah.
I want my drink. I'm ready. what you
I feel-
doing?"
I feel like Angie went to her ear and was like, "Listen, I'm a bartender. This is what you do.
right.
Don't
Get it
F
done.
up."
It was
Don't
it was
F up.
just like a whole bunch of like parade
Mhm.
on top of parade. It was
said,
horrible.
"With my liquor."
She was learning
Yeah,
because she
Where
was young.
my liquor?
She was very young.
She was super
Back
young.
to what I said. Remember when I said people want to go into it because the kids now know that it's a way to make quick money.
Yeah.
So we have, obviously we're a little older, but we have the under 25 crew inside of these establishments. And one, they're hard to talk to already. I spoke to her. Remember, and I was nice about it. I said, "Hey, girl, fix my drink because this tastes like you just put a whole bunch of strawberry puree. It needs liquor.
Right.
I need seltzer in it. Like, you got to fix it up a little bit." I told her, throw away half, put the rest. She did exactly what I told her to do. It was perfect.
Right.
But she didn't retain the fact that we needed attention. Because I feel like it was obvious by the time she got me my drink, your drink was empty.
She walked right off.
She walked away.
Right.
She didn't look.
What
no
what
nothing.
more grace does she want
Right.
us to give you? Like, and then, so yeah, I feel it's weird nowadays when you go out to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the hospitality too, like, I guess it comes with the territory, right? You're looking for attention. Like, that's why you go out to eat and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good way to put it.
You don't.
Yes.
It's not like you're looking for it, but you're going out,
require
so
it.
it's expected.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a part of it. Like, you have to know what you're getting into. People want attention. You're not always going to get a really nice person at your table. Some
Right,
people
right,
are
right.
really nasty to servers, so they end up having a really bad day. And I say to those people, like, you got to let it go at that table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those combos literally almost every shift that my sister works, and now that I'm working too, like, I say to myself, like, girl, let it go at the table, and I let it go at the table.
And listen, it's part of the job. You have to keep your emotions separate, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's with any job, any position.
Yeah, and then back to her twerking, right? Because, real quick,
to the
I
twerking.
gotta say this. I gotta say that is also part of her job, right? Because you need to appeal to people.
Yeah.
So, whether I'm making hookah or not, like, you better put on that waist trainer and twerk, even if you're not breathing, like, you got to make guys want to buy drinks. You got to make the girls feel happy. So, yeah, so it's kind of like hard
and
nowadays.
we was in that atmosphere where
Absolutely.
it calls for it. And so I
Right.
just wanted to say that, guys.
Yep.
This wasn't.
Why was she twerking?
This
She
wasn't
was
that-
supposed
this-
to be
This,
twerking.
Yes,
this wasn't a Mickey D's.
Yeah,
right?
we went to a place where she was supposed to be
Yes,
twerking.
yes,
And the
yes.
bar was full, so she was doing her job.
Mhm.
I mean,
Because the
it
other
was
girl
working.
was the one that had, like, the regulars. She was entertaining the regulars.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
the manager there too.
Exactly.
So she knew what she was doing.
Yeah, but back in the day, the way that life has changed, like, even the industry has changed. Back in the day, you didn't have to do so much. You know what I
That
mean?
is
Like,
true.
you were just like
That
a
is
pretty
true.
face. Sometimes I didn't even know how to make a drink. And I would just
And
be
they
there
say,
like,
Oh,
girl,
you know how to
can
make a drink now.
right, thank you. Yeah, I would be like, girl, can you make me this drink, please? And they would do it for me because I was the youngest one there. But now things have changed drastically.
Yeah.
You know?
Social media got in the way, and now everybody think everything got to be a certain way.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
it's crazy how times change. Because we was talking about this too, and we'll start off the pod off this way too. Like these generation of parents now to these kids, like I don't know, has it changed because they're not getting butt whippings, and like the rules had changed in that area? Because now that you spank a kid for discipline, now you can potentially go to jail.
Actually,
and they call in
open
ACS.
hand, you don't get in trouble for.
Okay,
oh,
Jamila.
she working in school.
Open hand, you don't get in trouble for.
Yeah, but it's a
But
lot
yeah.
of that he say, she say too.
So I didn't get hit as a child. I don't know if I ever told you guys that. I never got spanked. Also, my parents didn't believe in that when it came to me and my siblings. We weren't also super bad. Maybe my older siblings were. I wasn't, because I kind of learned from their mistakes.
Yeah.
My mom always gave us a voice. So we would sit down and have conversations. Times kids are different nowadays. You know what I mean? But I never got spanked. We did have to kneel on rice. I had to kneel at like family events against
What's
the wall.
that considered corporal punishment now?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. But my punishments were like, she wasn't speaking to me, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I learned from a really young age that because of other people in my family hitting their kids really badly, that doesn't necessarily change your kid.
Right. It doesn't.
I do feel like there should be more structure nowadays in the
Yeah,
households. I don't know
definitely.
what's
That's
happening.
really what it is. The
Yeah.
structure. That's
Structure,
really what
yeah.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So if you I guess if you have to beat your kid all the time, is your kid really learning the lesson that they're supposed to? I don't know. I don't
No.
have kids, so I mean, I don't know.
It's like a whole bunch of different things. It's the spanking. It's
Right.
the structure. It's positive reinforcement. It's
Yes.
the consequences from it. It's what you do because they watch it and what you're doing and they listen to what you're doing. So if you saying one thing and doing the opposite, they're gonna be like, well, maybe I don't have to listen to you.
Right.
They're gonna do what they want. It's a little bit of everything put together.
Do you believe in spanking?
So
Wait,
Kinda?
have you hit JC?
I popped him, yeah.
Oh, popped. Yeah,
So-
I mean, yeah, I got
so
popped.
Growing
yeah.
up, my siblings got spanked.
Okay.
And even though I was the one who might have gotten them in trouble, I hated that. Like, I would be the one get them in trouble. They would get spanked, and I would cry.
Okay.
And I would beg for my mother to stop hitting them. And it was just like, why you hitting them so hard? Well, they did this, and they said this, and but why you have to hit them?
Right.
But then what you wanted me to do? And just like, I hated it.
Okay.
So I got hit one time, and that was it. That's all I needed. Don't touch me again. I'm good. Whatever you need me to do, I got you. I don't like to hit him. So I would, like, when he was a baby, not baby, but like a toddler,
Yeah.
you know, them terrible twos, I would pluck him.
Okay.
Pluck him with his finger. He learned real quick, nope, I'm not doing it because I don't like that hitting. He doesn't. So I never had to hit him.
Yeah.
Like, every now and then I have to, like, chest hits.
Right.
Like, calm down. Then that's about it. I
Yeah,
don't have to hit him.
and even now, he's not a bad kid.
He's not
at
a bad
all.
kid. Good.
He's
We
a
talk
kid.
it out.
That's it.
Talk it out. Yeah, I had talks, and like my parents were both really strong-minded. I always said, like, if I mess up, like if I, do something too crazy, I don't know what they're capable of doing. So let me
Yeah.
stay in line,
Yeah.
And I see the soft parenting happening in the newer generation in my family. I think their kids are wild and out of control. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
will say.
Yeah.
I do not believe in soft parenting. I'm not saying spank your kids, but I'm not saying soft parent your kid either.
You have to have a
Agreed.
balance. with
Yes, a
everything.
balance.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what's missing too.
How many times
Yeah.
I've seen kids go off on their parents. I can't stand there and watch it. So
Mm-hmm.
I work in a school. You're not gonna sit and talk to your parent like that. I jump in real quick. I don't know who you're talking to. You're not gonna talk to your parent. Like, you don't talk to me like that. So you're not gonna talk to your parent like that. I go
Right.
off.
Yeah.
Who you talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it's
play
also
that.
like what you said, a lot of the parents are talking to their kids like they're friends.
Yeah.
Right? So I had a lot of respect for my parents, and to this day I still do. The kids don't respect their parents.
No,
They don't
not
respect
exactly.
and the parents are talking
And
to them.
sometimes they don't give them a reason to respect them.
Exactly, yes.
So it's just like, I don't really blame you for the way you acted because look what you have to deal with.
Exactly. Agreed. I have to agree with that.
Crazy. So coming back to you, the star of our show today.
Dun, dun,
Right,
dun.
right. So before we deep dive into our articles and stuff like that,
Okay.
I guess the first question I want to ask you is like, what made you want to start writing? Right, because that's a big source of outlet. Some people use their voice, and then some people write.
Okay.
So what made you like like what activated you wanting to write? Like, was it an outlet for something? Did you need to express yourself? Did you need to get things out your head? Like, what sparked that interest?
I wanted to be a rapper. Swear to God, I did. I wanted to be a rapper. Yes, I did. First it was singing, and I have this picture.
Around what age was this that you wanted to be a rapper?
So singing was at 5. So my parents had got me this karaoke machine. I put the picture up every now and then on my Instagram because I think it's so funny, you know, because they would really tell me like, no, you can do this, baby, you know, like, and we had parents that probably people would think wouldn't do stuff like that. But no, my mom was like, you have a beautiful voice. And so was my sister and my siblings. And then I think around the age, what age is middle school? 6th grade?
6th grade, that's 11.
11? Okay, so yeah, at 11, I went to a creative school. So I went to a creative writing school. And I was surrounded by creatives from the hood, you know, because I grew up in the hood. So a lot of my friends were rappers, right? They wanted to rap. So I was like, oh my God, I'm a rapper, you know? Like, So I always had that thing where like, I have a accent, like not an issue because I don't think it's an issue, but Spanish was the predominant language spoken in my house. So my English wasn't great, right? To say the least. So when I was trying to rap, I couldn't articulate my words right. I feel like it was here, you know, like it was here.
And you was doing it in English.
Yes,
right?
And it was in English because, so my mom grew up like, you know, listening to Cher, Lauren, you know, like all these ladies. And because in Puerto Rico, back in the day, they liked them a lot, you know, because, yes, we had like Ivy Queen, which is a Spanish reggaeton artist. But for women, they were listening to a lot of American music. So I would hear them and I'm like, how can I do this? Because I kind of felt like I had that spoken word in me. And I was like, but I'm a little too hood for that. Because I had it in me. Like, it wasn't on me. It was in me from a young age, you know? Like, I had that street swag. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do this rapping thing. My sister, bless her heart, she would actually tell me, like, you're going to make it. You're going to do this. And we're going to go far. Then at 13, that's when I went into high school. My mom got sick. So those 2 years of me having that outlet and her actually fueling me as well, telling me like, okay, this is a route we can go. It was kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore because I had to focus on other stuff. Right. So I got a job.
So you had to quit to grow up. And everything like that.
Yes. Well, I still have, like, I had an event and I had the book in which I used to write my raps in. And they were really good. Like, now looking back, I'm like, girl, damn, you know, like, I see all these big artists. I'm like, you could have done something. But now it's like, you know, what can I do? This is why I was in high school. What can I do as an outlet? I had Twitter. So I started joining kind of like the spoken word community, right? Well, as you guys don't know me, but they know me. I feel like that community was very heartbroken-ish. I wasn't going through like a love heartbreak, right? I was going through life heartbreaking. So at that age, at the same time that my mom got sick, like maybe a year before, her and my dad separated. They were still friends, but it was a big change in my life, you know, because I was used to him being around. Then she got sick. She didn't want him to know she was sick. So it was also like
he's struggling with holding that in.
It in. And then, you know, she would like force me to see him because at this point he gets sent to DR. So she would be like, okay, you have to go visit your dad. So I'm visiting my dad and not telling my dad exactly how I'm feeling because of her. Because she was prideful too, you know, like she wanted him to know that she had it together. When in reality, he probably could have helped because they were friends. So then I did like a few spoken word nights, and at that time it was like a famous place in Harlem. Yeah, I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. There was a spot, and I used to go there. I was a kid, but I was working already, and you know, like I was working at night. So people didn't know also that I was 13, 14 years old because I've always looked older.
The Spanish.
Yeah, no, literally everybody. So Spanish. I get to, after high school, I start Inside My Karma, which was the original name. and I'm in college and my friends are like reading my writing and they're supporting, and I'm like still like kind of tweeting some of my feelings and stuff like that. And I just got to like this cross point where I wanted to look up what was going on around me, because I was a lot of my friends at that time, they were getting arrested. They were on lean at the time. We were doing Molly. I can't say they were. We were doing Molly, you know. So I was just interested in knowing the stats. Now I know that comes from my mom. She was also always doing research and stuff like that. I didn't know that in the beginning.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she fueled that. But yeah. So when I started doing the research, I started changing inside my karma. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it. I didn't know that people were even reading it on Twitter, but they were, because then later on.
It was the genuine.
Yes. So the host of my website ends up sending me an email, and they're telling me your stats are booming. And I'm like, my stats are booming. And I had no idea. Because think about it. We're talking about like 2011, 2012. You know?
Twitter was big back then.
It was huge. And I had Twitter since
I don't
2008.
even know Instagram was just getting around that time, but Twitter's still the number one platform.
Still the number one platform.
Social.
Yeah, and I had a big following on Instagram at the time as well as Twitter. So as I'm doing all of that, you know, eventually she ends up, you know, passing, and I end up just giving my all to my writing. You know, like I'm writing a lot, and I'm just getting out there and just learning about what I'm writing about too, because I was interested in doing creative writing and maybe like even linguistics, but I didn't get to finish.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of the history behind my writing. I wanted to be a rapper.
Got it.
And now I'm here, yeah.
So just rewinding a little bit. So what made you call it, what Inside My Karma? What made you call it that?
I was at a dark point. So everything that was,
like it.
Yeah, right? Doesn't it? Everything that was happening to me, I thought was my fault. So my dad got incarcerated right after my mom passes away.
So we're talking about 2000, to build the timeline for the
2014.
14. So you was what?
18, about to be 19. So she passed away when I was 18, and 6 days later I turned 19. So it was like kind of that cross point, you know, like because she passed November 19th. My birthday's November 26th. So it was right there. So we end up going to Dominican Republic. We do like the ashes thing, whatever. I come back the next month. They call me. They tell me my dad got arrested.
Just too
It's
much.
a crazy charge that we're like, okay, this might be it for us, you know, as a family.
Yeah.
So Inside My Karma was literally like, you know, everything that's happening is my karma, because I must have done something so bad because I was a kid. So I thought it was my fault. You know, like, not that she got cancer, because I knew cancer was something that I couldn't prevent, but just like, how could so many bad things happen in one family? Yeah. Because, you know, we had the trauma before that, you know, because they, you know, obviously they weren't in a good lifestyle. So I saw so much growing up.
Yeah.
So I kind of always felt like, you know, why was I so unprotected from everything that I saw? And that was inside my karma. And I had to change it, because as I got older and through therapy and through just like doing my own mental health work, I realized that like it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
So do you feel as, and I'll bring it back to me after this, but do you feel like the passing of your mother and then your father being incarcerated really fueled This Bronx Girl Writes, like your writing as a whole? Like, did it, I know it didn't change the narrative, right? But did it fuel it to write more?
Well, both. Yes, it did change the narrative. And it did fuel it, because Inside My Karma continued up until 2020. So it was still 2020, and I was still feeling guilty about a lot of the stuff that was happening to me.
And you're thinking 7 years later, still feeling that guilt.
7 years later, still feeling that guilt. I was in a really bad relationship as well, where I thought that everything that happened was also on me, until I think one day I had a conversation with my sister. We were literally in the living room, and I had been talking to my therapist about this. When I went away to college, I also worked, and I tried my best to help my family while they were here. My mom ends up getting sick, so I leave school completely. I just got up. I think it was in my last semester of my second year, and I come back to the Bronx. When I come back to the Bronx, I was living in a loft in Buffalo. My mom was paying for me to live in a loft, meaning like it was amazing for a college student. I was, you know,
Living
nice
a good
sneakers,
life.
everything you could think of, like the nicest outfits. When I get back to the Bronx, my mom and my sister are in a 1-bedroom apartment on T-Bow.
And you're like, I'm living this and this.
I had
you
no
guys
idea.
Are sacrificing. Yeah.
Yeah, I had
So you
no
felt
idea.
Like it was your,
Yeah, and I was the baby. So when I would call and I would ask certain people, like, hey, you know, what's going on down there? Like, they would tell me, like, everything was fine. So
they didn't
when,
want you to worry.
yeah, they didn't want me to worry.
Especially like you being in college and stuff. Who wants there?
Right.
Right.
So when I had the convo with my sister, I finally got off my chest that I was sorry, because it was so hard for me to ask. I couldn't pinpoint where was the guilt coming from.
Yeah.
And I felt like the guilt was coming from her carrying so much on her as well. I never looked at what everybody else was going through around me, because I was so hyper focused on this is happening to me.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
they
what
kind
most
of,
people go through.
yeah. And then 7 years later, through the work of therapy and God, I decided, you know what, it's time to cut ties with certain relationships and start building a new brand for myself, get my voice out there, because I can help people. And I did it, you know. I was
You
like,
are.
okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, shout out to
So
you.
proud
Shout
of
out
you.
to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I could like relate, because I don't think we ever talked about this either. So at the age of I was like 14, 15, right? Or maybe just, my father got incarcerated.
Oh,
And I spent every week with him. Like, I lived with my mom, with him every weekend, but then he gets incarcerated, and I felt like it was my fault,
Okay.
even though it wasn't.
Right, because
And
you
like,
don't know.
Yeah, because you don't know, like, oh, was he angry? Like, I didn't understand. I went to court once, and I was like, I understand what's going on, don't understand what's going on. And then he tells me not to go to his last court date, and then I just get that call saying, oh, yeah, your father's in jail, and he'll probably be there from like 12 to 25 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So he did
like,
his time. He did time.
Yeah, he did his time and everything. He came out early and
Okay,
everything
thank
like
God.
that. And at that, so I was in the Bronx still. I went to college in Miami, and that's actually one of the reasons why I came back to New York, because I haven't been with him for 12 years. Even though we spoke all the time, wrote letters all the time, he called me every week faithfully, still trying to be that father figure.
Right.
But physically, he wasn't there.
It's not the same, yeah.
Right? So it's not the same. So I think about this time where, like, I'm living a good life outside, more or less, but then I'm still missing these integral pieces.
Right.
And even in between that time, and I didn't even know until I was older, my mom actually went to jail for like a year or so in between that time. But she was able to hide it from me, which is the crazy thing. Because I didn't
Because parents
understand.
will do everything. Parents do everything.
You know what? Rewind. Sorry. She went to jail before my father for a year, and I didn't know. I was just told, like, she went to school, and when I went to visit her, you know, she was doing crochet or whatever little programs they were in. So I didn't even feel that effect until like 20 years later.
Right.
Because then, like, and my story goes is that me and my father went to go see my grandmother, and I'm looking at old pictures, but something wasn't adding up. Like, I was reading the pictures, and the pictures was saying, hey, you know, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to, like, piece together that young.
What's going
Where
on?
you was at?
Mhm.
Yeah. And it ties down to, like, you know, why did our parents feel like they had to hide so much, and what did they go through, right? Because that's important to think about. Like, you know how hard it must be for them to have to hide this and not be able to speak to their babies.
Right.
Kind of.
So, do you think things would have changed for you guys if they wouldn't have hid it? Like, if they had that conversation, how would that have affected you guys different?
Well, okay, so a little bit different than Sean, right? Because so I didn't know until I was maybe 12 what my parents did, right? Then one day, funny thing is, it's like the same building I'm living in now, but we live downstairs. You know, like, they came into our apartment and they raided our apartment, and it was me and my sister there.
Yeah.
So my mom, I guess at that point, had no choice but to have the conversation. Of course, my uncles were around and stuff. So they had a conversation with us about, you know, well, this is what we do. And we didn't tell you guys because we just figured you knew, like what was up. Well, my sister knew what was up. I didn't. So yeah, there was a conversation had. I knew that we were somewhat privileged in the hood. Like I knew like, okay, like I know my dad is that guy. I know my mom is that girl. Like I can tell because we had nice cars and, people were taking the train and we were getting dropped off.
Right.
So I was like, what is going on here? Something's up. When that happens, we pick up and we move. But that was it happened so much in my life.
So it became regular.
It was so regular. So my sister knew, like she
told me. You want to hear
me.
something crazy? Same thing happened to me.
Right.
And I didn't know why. So.
Okay. You didn't piece it together.
So every year and a half, 2 years, I moved.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why.
Disgusting.
Every
man.
2 years.
It's crazy.
Every 2 years until like that incident happened with my mother. I went to go live with my grandmother. And then I was like, listen, I love being stable and not looking forward to move. I was like, I'm staying home with grandma for a little bit.
Right.
And then my mom heard me, and then she stayed stable of wherever we was living. But she was done doing what she was doing at that time.
Like,
So
I
Gotcha.
don't know, like my grandmother always sewed, right? And she would do it from her husband would do it from the house, and we would be there. But we always knew, like she sat us down and said, "This is what I do." When someone knocks on that door, you go this way. Like it was already explained to us, so we understood what was happening. We knew what was going on. We knew certain things don't touch because this is that. This is where where everything is. The drugs, the weapon. We knew everything was, and we knew what not to touch. And so it made life easier for us. So when something happened, it was like, I already know what's going down. I'm going to go this way because I know what's going on already.
And I think that's good. I think that's healthy. I mean, it's
Of course, it's not healthy, but,
but it's healthy.
I appreciate it because I knew, and I was never caught off guard. So when guys would randomly come into the house, it was just like, why are you here? No, I knew why they were here. Right. And I knew I don't have to entertain them. I don't have to talk to them. Just they're going that way.
Yeah, I feel like that's the healthiest unhealthy situation you could possibly be in. Because when you're blindsided, then 20 years later, you have the trauma talk,
when your father was, and you said you was an angry person then.
I was super
and
angry.
You didn't, yeah.
Okay.
And I've never been angry in my life until that happened.
No, I could trust. Yeah, I could totally relate. I feel like I was confused. I mean, not confused in the sense of like, so obviously everything is alleged, like allegedly we don't know what he did, but I knew that for what he got caught with, I knew that it was going to be a long time, right?
Yeah.
I also knew that he was in a position to not be doing what he was doing anymore. So that was more of my confusion. Then I turned to kind of alcohol and, pills and doing stuff like that because I wanted to self-medicate because I didn't have my mom and now I had to help my dad. And my dad was always in the position to either help us, which it wasn't like he never had to pay child support, it wasn't that type of relationship. Yeah. He was just a good father to me and my sister. To everybody else, I'm not too sure, but to me and my sister, he was great, So to me, it was just kind of like, I want to numb this pain because now I'm on autopilot because now I need money for attorneys. Now I need to figure it out. And my mom, so previously when my dad had got arrested, my mom was around. And I remember that situation. I remember how she handled it. But we are two different people. She did something totally different than I did. So I didn't understand that my 9-to-5 money and my nightlife money wasn't going to be enough for those charges. Yeah. So while everybody was just kind of like, well, like his peoples is going to figure it out. I was like, I am his peoples. Yeah. So everybody, I was calling people. I was trying to figure out what can I do still till this day. Like I still try my best to support my dad and be there for him. So I think that was me. I went on autopilot. I was like, I have to fix it. And, obviously, like I said, that spirals out of control because you can't fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? And this brings this conversation brings my next segue. And so going into your newest article, right, on So Issue 10, right? You did an article called, which I got in front of me, guys. It's called Abandoning the Hustle.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a great segue for that. And I'll read one line, which you mentioned like 2-3 times. But you also, I don't know if you realize, you wrote this in your article too. So you wrote, I have worked my ass off for almost 2 decades However, in my family, I am that generation in which we are forced to break generational trauma and somehow establish generational wealth. Lucky me, huh?
Yes, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's
Elaborate.
listen. It's
Elaborate.
crazy because when you read it to me, it's like, wow, I said that.
That sounds good.
Right.
And before you explain where you got this from, so I was actually, and this is what really like eye opened this for me too. So I was reading something earlier, and I don't know, was it today, yesterday, but it said that the problem that we don't know with us is that we're breaking we're breaking generational curse, but it's not just with money. Because when we talk about it, we're thinking only money, but we're breaking the traumas that have been passed down to us, and that's weighing on us, and sometimes we don't even know it.
That's a fact.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're thinking, oh, we're just breaking the generational curse, and we're thinking one linear of the money, but it's more than that.
Right.
Like, so now how are we breaking the trauma, the sin, so this way when we have a child, then that's not passed on to the next.
Absolutely.
So what type of place were you in when you was like writing this? And again, I know your articles are research based and stuff like that, but I know some of it comes from you as well.
Oh yeah, like research. So I like to say research based because my life is not the only life happening, right? So there's so much people going through similar situations. We're just not forwarding that information. So I make sure that when I'm writing about myself, I'm also asking my peers. I'm looking up statistics. I'm trying to see what is happening in our community. With this particular article, I was at a stage of also frustration. I have a family member. I feel like they lean on me a lot. Yeah, I'm the money aunt. You know, I'm the one with no kids. Me and my sister.
The
are the
rich
ones with no kids.
auntie.
Yeah, we're the rich, the rich aunties that still live in the Bronx. So it was just me thinking, how is it that we have all this burden on us? I've been working for so long. I'm 28 years old. I've been working since I was a kid. Nobody forced me to work. I just saw that my mom worked every day. I saw that my dad worked every day. And I was like, well, they're working. I want to do something too. I started off obviously with summer youth. Then I worked my way up. Generational trauma. We have like so much trauma in my family from so much death. We come from a family that is, I don't want to gang affiliated. We come from Puerto Rico. We come from Dominican Republic. In those places, that's the culture somewhat, not the total culture, but it is, you know, when you live in the projects over there, you're from that project, you know, so that's kind of like your little gang. Or when you're from the barrio, that's where you're from, and that's your little gang. With Dominican Republic, it's a republic. I don't have to say much about that, right? So I felt that I was at this place where I'm seeing everybody saying, you know, you have to get to this certain level in life and you have to do this. And I'm also working with the baggage. So at this point in my life, and I had mentioned this before to you guys, I don't want to work 2 jobs. You know, I got a remote job. I love my career. So I'm like, I love what I do. I love writing. Why do I have to work 2 jobs to live? I'm working 2 jobs to live because my family is dependent on me. Whether it is emotionally, also when it's emotionally, sometimes I have to take a flight. I have to take a flight and be there. My dad is locked up in the Dominican Republic. My family, my mom's side of the family is in Puerto Rico. That takes wealth. You can't do that with a phone call. You know, I can't console my aunt with a phone call. So that's that part, you know, that part with the trauma.
So do you feel as you're still going through this trauma?
Yes.
Like getting over it?
Yes.
And it's still weighing you?
Yes.
And how you think you're going to get over it or overcome it?
So the most recent trauma that has happened in my family, we lost one of my cousins. One of my cousins that was one of my best friends, one of my sister's best friends, my mom's sister's son. He got killed in Puerto Rico. We come from a family that our jobs are not traditional. He had a traditional job. So this is the good cousin, right? This is the cousin that you don't expect to get the phone call. So to break, I mean, it's almost out of your control, right? I can't break the trauma that's happening, but I can break how I handle it. So when I did get that phone call, I took my trip to Puerto Rico. We handled the funeral arrangements. We were there for my aunt. I also deal with an aunt that's mentally unstable. after her sister passed away, which was my mother, you know, we thought we would lean on her. She was leaning on us. We kind of saw, me and my sister saw what my mom went through with her, and we had no idea. So now, instead of taking it all on like my mom did, I kind of keep it at arm's distance and do the best that I can while I can. So yeah, I'm going to deal with the funeral arrangement, and I'm going to have the tough face while I'm there because I don't have a choice. But when I come home, I'm going to decompress. I'm going to cry. I'm going to talk to my friends, go to therapy, and do what I have to do.
Are you feeling overwhelmed with your finances? Do you feel like you're barely making it paycheck to paycheck? Or are you unsure where your money is going each month? Maybe you're drowning in debt and don't know how to get out, or you're struggling to find the right insurance for you and your family. Perhaps you're just thinking about retirement and worried that you don't have enough saved up. Fear no more, because help is here. United Agency is a financial firm who can help you put a plan in place for all of those things. And the best part is completely complimentary. That's right, we want to help you get ahead financially and in life because you deserve it. Whether you need help with budgeting, saving, tracking your money, finding the right insurance policies, planning your kids' education, building wealth, retirement planning, or estate planning to protect your assets and your family's future, our team is here to help you. Click the link in the show notes to schedule a one-on-one and take control of your finances and your future. Keep for listening. We'll see you soon.
So I can't change the trauma, but I could change how I handle it.
Right, and you changing how you handle it sets the tone for everyone else, because then
Absolutely.
they see a different way of handling it, and then they will learn, and then that will start passing down, and you are breaking the curses.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That, I like to see it that way. I had a conversation with my cousin, and I told her the other day, you know, we don't have to be super rich. We don't have to be super wealthy and have all these properties, but it starts somewhere. So that goes to the wealth. I told her if we have one apartment in Puerto Rico, because we used to own a house that we lost, that's a start. You know, my dad he had a house in Dominican Republic. Unfortunately, with everything that happened, we lost the house. We still have an apartment. So I told them we have to start somewhere. So that goes to the wealth, you know?
Yeah.
So kind of picking their brain and letting them know why it's important. They have kids, I don't. So I told her, you have a kid, and if I'm doing this not for myself, maybe think about it, I'm doing it for your kid. Because I love your kid, and I want her or my kids in the future to have a leg to stand on.
Right.
So that's kind of where the wealth part comes in with the trauma, you know, trying to educate them.
Yeah, which is powerful because, look, anybody looking at you look like you got it all together and figured out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right?
I try.
I'm learning. Jay and I are learning some things right now about you, so
Thank
it's really interesting because, like I said, we see you, we see each other every weekend. We speak pretty often, and just you think people got it all together, right? So it really shameless like plug, but you can't judge a book by its cover, right?
No, you can't. Listen, there's been times where I show up places and I just like cried my eyes out in my house, and I'm like, girl, you got to put on makeup and your lashes on, and you better get to work.
We've talked about that.
We've talked about that. Yeah. And even like sometimes working at night, I cried the first time, and I told you guys, I cried the first time that I got the phone call, and I was like, damn, girl, you're going to have to go. The moment that I knew I needed that money, I was like, you're doing something wrong because you were at a place where you didn't need it. But I was also allowing pressures from my family to get me to that point that I was like, you have to hustle, which goes against what I wrote.
Abandoning the hustle.
Yeah.
But definitely, and this would be the perfect segue because it's all mental, right? With the trauma and everything. Even though the trauma is real and is all mental. And when I was doing this morning, I did a mindset call on fear because part of that trauma is fear too, right? Fear that it's going to happen to you, fear that it's going to happen next. You already had 2, 3, 4 deaths in the family. You're thinking about who's next.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's...
So it's a real thing. Like
I don't even mean to cut... You know how real
ahead.
that is? That the other day I had to cut somebody off, one of my family members. We were on the phone and she told me, you know, my biggest fear is to get that phone call about our other cousin. Now he he's a Tasmanian devil. So there's no controlling that one, you know? So I said to her, I'm not going to speak my death into existence because I do travel and I am outside. So what I will do is tell you guys about this life insurance policy that Sean and Jamila, no, seriously, I said that Sean and Jamila have been speaking about because maybe this death would be different. So that's real. They speak about it because of the trauma. I try to not speak about it. Like sometimes, you know, we perceive things, we feel things, and I'm like, girl, you know, pray to God and move forward.
You know, whatever you focus on expands, so you don't want to bring that.
I love that. Whatever you focus on expands.
So if you keep talking about death,
then
death is
it's
gonna
come.
So you have to stop talking about that. Talk about the moving forward, changing the mindset, educating the rest of the family about different things, so that when they go through things, they change the way they respond.
Absolutely. That's why I literally sent them Sean and Jamila's number. I sent them. I did. One of my cousin, he speaks English, so it won't be a problem. I told him
he speaks English.
Yeah, he does. I told him. I said maybe this time we won't have to break the bank account. You know, like maybe this time me and my sister, because like I said, we're the foundation. We won't go crazy. So sign up for this life insurance for me because you can afford it. You know what I mean?
And you know, and before we segue into the next thing, it's crazy you mentioned that. And I think we talked about on the pod, I don't know, but there was an article, shameless again, right? There was an article, but it said that it's crazy how black people are poor, or one of the reasons we're poor is because we don't have life insurance, because we don't realize, like, you get a life insurance policy, whatever it is, it could be $200,000, but that can be passed down from family to family, going down and buy other policies, right? It's one of the names is just like a generational legacy building.
Yes.
Is that you get a $250,000 life insurance policy. Person passes away. It pays for everything. You pay some of the bills, college funds, whatever's left over. You buy the next policy, and usually you buy it on the oldest person. We want everybody to get it, but usually the oldest person will have the most life insurance, because when they pass, then that passes down to the next person. And then if we keep on doing that, every family will have money.
I love that.
To some degree.
No, I love that.
Why should you have to grieve and worry about where I'm going to get this money? Now you're grieving and trying to figure out where you're going to get these funds.
You're grieving and you're broke.
Right. Like, that just makes it even worse. So if you can grieve and actually grieve without worrying about the finances,
it makes it easier.
It does. You can't take away the grief, but it helps.
No, it's a tremendous help. Like, if I was to sit here and tell you guys the trauma story,
I could imagine.
Listen, it was horrible. Yeah.
I believe it. But just going into the mental fortitude in the piece, I wanted you to bring up the other article on the mental that you were talking about with
break it down friendships.
Yeah, breaking down friendships.
So tell them about breaking down friendships.
Okay.
I read it, but
okay, good. Thank you for reading. So, breaking down friendships. So I grew up in a community which is mostly Jamaican and African. Because of that, I also had a lot of male friends. I also have an older brother. So I kind of know about, you know, the male issues that you guys go through. My guys,
you guys go through. Damn.
Sorry, no, you know, you guys. It's you guys. Me and Jamila, you know, we're women.
You hear this, right? I'm getting attacked on the show.
So what I noticed is also my dad. He's like super prideful, right? So, but he's also old school. So my tattoos and like just the way that I am, I think it drives him crazy. Like he's asking me when am I gonna remove my sleeve? It's like, dude, it's not happening, you know?
Never.
But my dad has also told me like not to get married, so I'm confused. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like remove my sleeve, not get married, just become a nun, right? Like okay. So it all started with him, right? Because we have a funny relationship. I love him. Like, oh my God, I can't imagine my life without my dad. But I also realize that we clash all the time. So I'm like, what's up with that? Throughout therapy, I learned that he is going through a lot. He just doesn't know how to express it. Obviously, I know he's incarcerated, so it must be tough. However, I didn't get him there. You know what I mean? And I'm quick to tell him too. Like, your choices led you to where you're at. I know you struggled growing up, sir.
Don't take that out on me.
Right, but please don't take it out on me. I want to be here for you. He doesn't know how to express his emotions without saying like, when I die And it's like, now you're guilt tripping me. Then fast forward to my later years in life. My previous relationship taught me that a lot of the times with men in their inner circles when they are younger, because I don't know how it works as you get older. I'm in that 28, 25, 30 age range. I usually date up. So he is 32 now. His outlet was alcohol. Mm-hmm. Because his boys thought that when he was having a bad day, giving him alcohol would make it better for him. Mm-hmm. I was just kind of like, okay, great. You guys are giving him alcohol, and then I'm dealing with the madness that comes with the alcohol, because he's not going to cry in front of you guys or go crazy. But when we get home, I'm going to have to deal with the financial heartaches that he's going through, mm-hmm. or, maybe the baby mama drama that he's dealing with, but you can't talk to them about it. I have a group of guy friends that are all very successful. One of them is getting married, and, the other one owns a house. They're all very successful men. I realize that they talk to me a lot about what they're going through, but they don't talk to each other. I don't know if this is new.
I will say, so as a man and growing up as a man, and I'm sure a lot of men have feel this, that, we are taught literally as men to hide our emotions.
Yes.
And suppress it.
Yes, and I hate that for you guys. Yes. I do. I hate it for you guys. In a sense, I hate it so much because I feel so bad, because I have, like I said, my guy friends is platonic, and I love them. And when I went to college, I still have a lot of those guy friends. I lived in a house where 5 girls were downstairs, 5 boys were upstairs, mm-hmm. And we all had our partners, so it was nothing funny going on. Mm-hmm. So with them, I feel like, no, it's not fair. It's not yeah. Because maybe if we teach men emotional intelligence while they're young, when they grow up, we don't have to deal with the crap.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree. And not to put no blame on my mom, but especially, like, say, for example, after my father had went to jail and everything, and I would never forget the day she told me this. She told me, listen, women ain't S, and you have to learn how to do things yourself. Mm-hmm. And at that age, I was 14, 15, she taught me how to do laundry, cook for myself, and be independent because of, adding on suppressing my emotions. Mm-hmm. So now that it was not only hard to express myself, now I feel like I have to do everything myself as well.
Correct. That's what all men are taught.
Yeah.
And that's how we taught. And it comes from it came, because I don't know this generation, but it came from the mother and father's perspective too.
Right. And adding to that, or contrary to your mom teaching you how to cook and clean and do that, right? I dated a Jamaican African. Shout out to them.
Interesting.
Listen,
Jamaican. I'm like trying to.
I just got quiet. Like, wait.
It was very interesting.
That in my head, like a Jamaican. The mom had to be Jamaican.
The mom was Jamaican.
You see, I knew it.
The mom was Jamaican and the dad was African. So I was. What is it, Susie? The house. What is it that they call it? Sarah, the housewife. Somebody. Basically, I was like, I worked and I cooked and I cleaned, and I F and I shut up. That was me, mm-hmm. Like that was all I had to do, because in his mind, that was me. You know what I mean? But he wasn't like a rich African. So it wasn't like I was getting right. Yeah, of course I would go for the broke one. So it wasn't like I was getting pampered, right? No, but I was cooking, I was cleaning, and then on top of everything, to add insult to injury, his mother thought that I should be doing that. Like that was my job.
That's what
But when I grew up, my mom and my dad, they were teammates, even up until the separation. So it was like I was going crazy. Obviously, it was through grieving that I stayed there, because God, I would never. That's also what I see, like the battle, right? Mm-hmm. Because I also felt like he wanted to be better. But then you have these influences that come from culture, from the culture that we learn, that men learn. Well, you learn different, he learned different. Then I have my Jamaican guy friends, and their culture teaches them something totally different. And Dominicans,
definitely totally different.
Totally different.
But this is a part of that generational curse.
Yeah, that trauma,
right?
Breaking that trauma.
Because back in the old days, right, the women stayed home, the men worked,
Right.
but we worked, or they worked, we worked. The men worked.
Mm-hmm.
They had to suppress their feelings and come home to a cooked meal and everything. But as things evolved, that generational suppression still stayed with us. So we
Right.
still feel like we have to work, even though the women want to be a team.
Mm-hmm. There's
And
no
then-
team effort from the other end.
Yes.
And you know what? Sometimes it's both ends, right? I want to put it like that because, you know, I myself am an honorary member of the City Girls. But, you know, I do feel like it comes from that line, right? And then there's nothing being broken and there's nothing being discussed. So when I was writing Breaking Down Friendships, part 1, it was really supposed to be about friendship dynamics. You
I
saw
see
that,
it
right?
starting like that, and then it went straight into men's.
It went
mental
straight
health.
into it because
You got
depression.
picked on. Got it.
yeah, you know,
You said
no, it's not me picking on you guys. It's support.
It's important.
Yeah, it's
something that's
important
not
to talk
spoken
about because I have guy friends that are in toxic relationships that they're not the toxic one, but they don't know how to leave that
They
relationship.
think that's acceptable.
They think it's acceptable because of a certain look or a
I
certain
think,
perspective.
and this goes both ways, not just the men, that
Yeah.
we don't know what it look like, right?
Right.
right, because
And
toxic is normal.
toxic is normal, and
For the record, it's not normal.
Right. That was sarcasm.
it's the
I know.
norm, not normal.
Right,
It's
right.
the norm. But because of how we grew up with that emotional suppression and everything like that, and probably the trauma that came on top of that, like because the toxic relationship is not beating us up as bad as we beating ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
So that pain, we're numb to.
Yeah.
And we only tend to leave it if that toxic relationship tends to beat us more than we beat ourselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And that's
agree.
when they tend. But then we look for another toxic person who beats us less
Yes.
Right, right,
yeah.
right.
and think is normal.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah. Because it's like the best of the worst evils, right?
The
Yes,
lesser,
yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
the
The
lesser
lesser-
worst
yeah,
evils.
yeah.
I know exactly.
So
what
how
you're talking
do you propose like we get over this? I mean, besides therapy, because I took therapy, guys. So I definitely would recommend therapists.
So I think that one, we have to stop normalizing alcoholism in our community with our men, especially with our men. Yes, I know it's with our women too, but breaking down friendship was meant to empower men. It wasn't breaking down our men. It was to empower them, to let them know we do have a voice. Black, Spanish, you know, Asian, I guess, of people of color men, you know, like I do hear you and I see you. And Jamila's playing footsie with me.
My bad.
But I do but I do hear you.
Women empowerment.
Right, yes. I do hear you and I see you. So I think alcoholism has to be cut off in our community.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
That's
a
not
lot.
the first thing to go
No,
to.
it's not the first thing to go to, and there's so much more to go to. I also feel like some of our values from back in the day with our men, like they were bad and they got to be revisited. I'm not a man, so I can't tell a man exactly how to break that. The article was just kind of giving people a voice, especially
And awareness.
Awareness,
I think
yeah.
that's one thing about your articles too. It
Right.
really brings awareness.
yeah, and a lot of young men nowadays are doing drugs, you know, like they're doing things to kind of have an outlet,
Yeah.
and they don't.
and it's not recreational, because if it's
No.
recreational, that's a different story.
Yeah,
But
it's
they're
because
using
they
it
don't
as
know
an
how to
outlet,
handle
like
what
you
they're
said.
going through.
Exactly, it's an outlet, and then that's why you see now that these young boys are killing each other. That's why you see.
That's what they think is what they're supposed to be doing. They
That's
don't know
what they're
anything
supposed
else.
to
They
be
angry and they
doing.
getting it out.
Right. So there's certain values that we took and certain values that we left, right? Because my father, although like he was an OG, right? He would never do that. He wouldn't kill kids, you know, he wouldn't, you know, do sexually assault women. He wouldn't hit a woman. Opposed to what's happening now is that, okay,
like
you want to be a
every man for
macho man,
himself.
but you forgot the main core values of what it
Right.
takes to be
Right,
that OG or to be that man on the block. You know, you can't be that guy because you're just not, because
Yeah.
you're missing that core value to it.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, like there's so much happening with young men, and I don't see that there's a lot of platforms talking about it.
It's
There-
not
there's
enough.
It's not.
enough.
It's not.
like-
I'm a guy, and we already know that, and this is statistically with a lot of businesses too. Like a lot of things, females take action with first. So
Right.
then, as a business, they appeal to women more,
Yes.
right? And that 30%, like it was hard taking therapy the first time,
Yeah.
right? Because again, in the Black and brown community, listen, go shut it off. You're
Go
not
have a
depressed.
drink.
You're okay. We don't do that in our family. So it took like me listening to other people saying it's okay, and I had to sneak and do it.
Right. That's
I had to
crazy.
sneak and do
Yeah.
therapy.
That's tough.
So, like, think about sneaking to
worrying
do
about
therapy,
what everybody
but
think
then
about.
still feeling like I can't express myself.
Listen, I had a guy friend tell me that he was having suicidal thoughts. And this is a man, you know, like that's the one I told you guys owns his house, you know, like, and that's the one I said in my article. He dates the Instagram models, right? He has these girls going crazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is going on? But then, you know, in our group chats, I hear the pain in your voice. Yeah. And I was like, well, go to, you know, like, go seek help. And I told him, you know what, therapy isn't for anybody but seek God. You got to seek something, because whatever those voices in your head, I recognize them.
It's gonna grow.
It's gonna grow. And he told me that that's not what men do. And I was like, well, you know what? I don't know how further I can help you.
And that's not even him speaking. That's
Yeah.
the
That's-
generation speaking.
Yes, that's the generation.
So as raising a male, I've lucked out because I've showed him that he needs to express himself. So from a young age, always tell me how you feel. Talk about how you, like, what's going on in your head. I've always made him express that. So as a 3-year-old, he was very clear on what he liked, he didn't like, how he felt about it. This make me sad. This is why I'm sad. Like, he's very, very clear about how he felt about things. So now growing up, being a teenager now, it's like, no, I have emotions and this hurt me, and I need you to know. And just like, I need you to keep going, because we're not gonna build all these traumas. Like when he was little, I don't like what's going on with my dad. I don't like the way I feel about him. Something doesn't feel right. I don't want to be around him. All right, therapy. Put them both in therapy real quick. No, you're gonna talk this out and you're gonna figure it out, because you're not gonna hold on to this, because it's gonna grow to something bigger.
I love that. I love that so much.
And then giving you a timeline too, is that what age was JC when he went to therapy?
4, 5.
4 years old.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I don't like to be around my father. I don't like the way he treats me when certain girls are around, and when the girls are not around, this is how he treats me, and I don't like it, and I don't feel comfortable being with him. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna go to therapy, because whatever you're feeling needs to come out, and we need to know why you're feeling like that. And I put his father in it too. You two guys gonna do it with the therapist, and you're gonna talk it out.
I love that.
And then he was like, he started realizing what he was doing wrong. Then my son was able to talk about how he was feeling, and then mended their relationship, because now they know how to express himself. And his father's always like, men don't cry, men don't do this, stop acting like a little punk. You're not gonna keep talking to him like that.
Right.
And he's like, no, this is how I feel. You need to hear me.
And you know what? Like, I had this conversation. So we had a common conversation about the friend that I told you guys about, with another guy friend of ours, because it's a little group. And he told me, like, you know, I just feel like men don't be men anymore. And it's like,
What does that mean?
emotional intelligence does not mean that you're not a man. Being able to speak about your feelings, that's actually sexy. Women like that, you know. And I'm not telling you to cry to me, because please do not cry to me every 10 minutes. That's crazy. What I'm telling you is learn how to regulate those emotions, learn how to express yourself, you know. And back to the boys, to the little boys. Boys are not expressing themselves. They don't even know how to fight anymore. So that's why they're getting weapons. And the same people selling them the weapons are not following the rules from back in the days.
Of course not, because
So-
they don't understand it.
They don't understand it. So to me, it's just kind of like with boys and men growing up now, it gets tough, right? We're in that space where I'm a girl. And me and Sean and Jamila has spoken about it, like, let's do something for boys. But it is hard, because it's not enough people that want that attention on little boys. We're hyper focused on girls. And I feel that way. I love nurturing kids, you know, nurturing little girls, nurturing little boys. But I do feel like there needs to be a voice for men and for boys, for teens. So that's where Breaking Down Friendship came in. Because during that time, all my guy friends were going through something. And then, you know, they'll call me and they'll tell me, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, literally, because I have a friend that's 46, you know, like, and I know what they're going through. And it's crazy to me, because it's like the 46-year-old, it's hard to change that.
It's stuck.
You're 46, baby. You know, like, and I'm 28. You know, and these are friends of my mom's that I've inherited. So I inherited these people. Yeah. So when I'm talking to them, I'm like, I'm 28, so I'm in a newer generation, and I'm like, this person, you know, you need therapy. Like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. But you can't tell a 46-year-old that.
And the reason why, and the reason why, and I want to apply this to everything, like when we do financial coaching or when we're helping people do business development, they've been doing it for one way for the past, he's 46, so you think in 30 years, maybe even more, whenever it was instilled in him, and it hasn't failed them. It hasn't served them, but it hasn't failed them.
It hasn't failed me, but it's not serving you.
It's
and
not serving them.
That part.
So like to say, hey, listen, you need to go to therapy, or hey, you need to talk to your emotions. It's something new, and it stirs up, and then you just revert back. Trust me, I've been in that same situation.
Because change is uncomfortable.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Change is uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
But you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
It's necessary. It's necessary. Yeah.
But listen, can we stop picking on men?
Yes.
And talk about one of my favorite articles.
Oh wow.
That made you famous.
Okay.
What you was gonna do?
No, I was gonna say stop picking on men. I was gonna talk about relationships and friendships, but let's go with that one instead.
Oh, okay. So let's stop picking on the males
and go back to the females.
And go to the opening line that says, "Yes, I got a vagina too."
Yes.
AKA,
so save the flowers.
Yes, save the flowers.
Okay.
Her famous article.
Yeah, everybody loves
what
that article.
It's you know what it is? Wait, before you even jump into it, let me just read. I know I'm not a female, but let me tell you. And I told you this, prior to coming to here, is that your opening lines, you never know where you're gonna go with it. So I'm like, okay, save the flowers. We talk about
the
gardens.
Title and the first line. Wait, what is going on?
Right, and then the first line is like, I don't know. Do you know the exact same, the exact line? Open up the line.
So it was basically like So save the flowers starts with.
It was like.
I remember when I realized I had a vagina. Tough times.
Yeah.
There you go. I was like, oh, we rating this. I put my foot up. I got my coquito.
But real quick, Jamila, do you remember like the first time you realized what your vagina actually did and how crazy that was?
Wait.
No, for real, because you know you have to. No, listen. You have to use the bathroom, right? So you know, as a little girl, you go to potty, right? But then there's like a weird moment, and not even your teen, but right before, like your preteens, where something happens, and you realize, like, oh my God, like this is a vagina, and like I can do stuff with it. And like I can do stuff. Yeah, like no, for real. And it's like do stuff, and then you can PMS, and it's like, what is happening? Wait, did you go through that, or
are you talking about the PMS side or the
just in general
activity side?
Just both.
So PMS side. So I knew what it was, but it's not real until it's real, kind of thing.
Yes.
So I knew what it was. I knew what needs to get done, and then it was the summer before 6th grade, and I was like, I used the bathroom. Something don't feel right. I feel weird. Go to the bathroom. I'm like, wait, what is going on? I'm dying. I don't want to tell nobody. Not knowing I knew already, but it was just like everything went down the drain. I don't remember anything.
Like your life totally changed.
I'm dying.
Yes, no, literally, your life changes.
Right.
Your life changes and nobody talks about that.
The activity side, I was one of the last kids who did anything, right?
All right.
So me listening to my friends talk, like I remember we was playing pool, and they were, playing with the pool and playing with the stick. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I don't understand. They was like, no, the activity. I'm like, I don't get it. What do you mean? Well, this goes inside of this. I said it goes inside of what? It ain't going inside of me. They was like, no. That's how it works. It goes inside. I said, no, it's not. It's going to be on top of it. No, it's going inside. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I'm arguing with them. They said, no, I've done it.
And then we
I'm like, no, you're a liar.
Afterwards, we got to pretend to enjoy it for the rest of our life. That's the crazy part. Right? Like,
not pretend.
Then for the rest of our lives, we're pretending.
Well, for those who don't know what the activity is, yes, we are talking about sex.
Yes, we're talking about sex.
All right? And the flower is the female hoo-ha.
No, so real quick, I want to really explain Save the Flowers.
Yes, go ahead.
So Save the Flowers was because it's a Spanish saying, right? It's no me tire flores. So don't throw me flowers, right? So after my relationship, you know, me and my sister always said that, like, don't throw me flowers. It's kind of like, you know, don't give me good stuff because you just want something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't throw me
Don't do it 'cause
flowers.
you want something in return.
Yeah, I also, like, after, like, during my relationship, I would get flowers all the time during bad occasions, right? Every single time he did something, it was flowers. It was almost, it's still traumatizing. I got it tatted on me, Save the Flowers. So Save the Flowers tatted on me before the article.
Right.
That's deep.
Yeah, because that's how strongly I felt when I broke up that relationship. I hated flowers. And then I understood what my mom was saying about the flower situation. It's annoying. And it's like, and also women are hyper focused on flowers. I hate it. You know, like, buy me an eighth, buy me whatever you want. Don't buy me flowers.
Not an eight.
Yeah, like, whatever you want but flowers. So, Save the Flowers was developing for a while. But Roe v. Wade started to get overturned.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, how crazy is it? So I started early, right? Contrary to what you just said, like, I did start early. I started at 13. And I had an older boyfriend and all that stuff. So I learned really quick the power, you know, that a woman has, whether it's with your vagina, your body, and how we can use it, you know, to obtain things, just different stuff. And I'm not talking about, you know, selling, but I am saying, like we have the power to be persuasive.
I do got the power.
Yeah. So when Roe v. Wade starts getting overturned, I'm like, how is it that we have people making decisions on our body? But this has been happening for a while because they have been talking about overturning Roe v. Wade for a long time. And there's states in, you know, the U.S. where women do not have the choice. And women can be forced to get married still to this day. And unfortunately, I can't name the states off the top of my head, but it is a real thing. So when I started to read into it and seeing, I was like, no, I'm dropping an article because I want people to understand what's happening. A lot of my friends did not know that Roe v. Wade was being overturned in a lot of states that were states that they were planning on move to, you know, from New York. So thank God in New York it hasn't happened, but we have states right now where girls can't get access abortions. And we have states where they're trying to close Planned Parenthood, which, like I mentioned in my article, we had a clinic inside of my high school. And that clinic saved my life. And when I say saved my life, it saved me from early pregnancy. You know, it saved, which is not a bad thing, but that's not just what I wanted. Right. So it saved me from that. It saved me from STDs. And it opened the bridge for me to have a conversation with my mom.
That's the conversation.
Yeah,
right?
Because my mom was open-minded. She was not like a cool mom because she was upset. But she was also like, I want to protect you because I want to make sure that you're prepared. Because she wasn't a young mom. So she didn't want me to go through that. And my mom was married. So it was like, you know, I know you think that I'm super cool and stuff, but, you know, this took me a while to get here, sis. So we're going to prepare you so that if you feel like you're ready for this, I know I can't stop you. But how are we preparing these girls that are now going to grow up with Roe v. Wade being overturned? And just so that everybody knows, there's a huge conversation going on right now about how they can defund Planned Parenthood and defund these places that are giving free birth control to people. Even in in the Bronx, on 3rd Avenue, there's like a whole bunch of clinics.
So crazy. I feel sorry for y'all females going through this.
Listen, no control.
Because, and it's so crazy because, like, you think of, like, the 19,
like 70s.
18, 20, but I'm saying 1820s when, you know, females couldn't vote and everything like that.
It was like 1918, 1920s.
Yeah, something around there. Yeah, I got the right to vote and everything like that. But then men is still in control of a lot of things.
Well, and also, just to be clear, a lot of the, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
So a lot of the times people say we had the right to vote, right?
Who is we?
Who is we? It was white women. A lot of, no, not a lot. Black and Hispanic women, I put the date on my article because I did do the research. We did not have those rights.
No.
We were limited to a lot of things. We were limited to the work field. So, whole 360, going back to that trauma, you know, a lot of our men, because we are marrying within our culture, even though people think that a lot of black men are dating white, it's actually statistically proven that they are dating black, you know, and they are dating Latino, have a hold on us, right? Because it's like, I got to control this because they still are seeing it like the way their grandfathers or fathers did. So it's kind of like hard, you know, when people say that we got the rights because we didn't.
Yeah.
We still didn't. We were still being treated like slaves.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's crazy, and I love that phrase. Like, just don't throw me flowers just because we're mad, just because you need something.
Yeah.
But y'all women, again, like you said, y'all hold a lot of power too. So don't make it easy.
We hold a lot of power, but we don't have power over ourselves, which is a big thing.
It is a big thing. And it's like, I don't want to take away from the girls that do like the flowers, because I know, like, it is pretty, it's something nice. I'm one of those people that I'm not like that. You know what I mean? I don't care for it anymore. But
you do have to say too, is like, there should be more good days than bad days. So there should be more flowers on good days than bad days. And again, flowers is just symbolic for being treated good, being, gifted just out of love and just 'cause, right? So definitely a deep article right there.
Yeah, it is. It kind of goes hand in hand with But We Do It Better. It's another article. It's like earlier on, though. It's earlier on. And it actually talks about why I'm hyper independent. That does not mean that I don't ever think that I'm going to be in a relationship or that I'm never going to have a man. But it just also means that I'm doing great. I do great,
Yes, you are.
Yes, thank you. And I'm going to continue to do, I know I can elevate and everybody can. But we do it better. Women do it better. That's just how I feel.
Just for the record, women do it better.
Listen, we do. And it also breaks down the statistics of like what a woman can do by herself versus with a man.
So I was just about to say that because I do read and everything. So statistically, and I'll say this first because this just came to my mind, like during like the
COVID.
Depression or the pandemic, right? When it all happened, a lot of millionaires and six figures was born, but what they didn't tell you is that most of them were women.
Yep.
Right.
Most of them were women. And then out of that, most of those women were like 50 and over. Still not retired, still working, and still in the workforce.
It's my time.
Right? And they found that push to become better and everything like that.
And just so you know, like, it'll take a woman 3 times harder than a man because of how we're getting paid to a man's dollar. The black woman
and the opportunities.
Yeah.
Yep.
The black woman, I think, is at, if I'm not wrong, like 81 cents, and then the Latino woman is at 56 or something like that. So it's like for a woman to become a millionaire nowadays, it's still crazy, and people don't know that.
Yeah.
It's still crazy. Yeah.
And then you did write that in your last article too.
Yeah.
Forgot what the exact words were, but like, it takes women.
Yeah.
They get paid less still.
Yeah.
It takes them twice as hard to get better positions. And then it's a double negative if you're a woman of color.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. I had this conversation with one of my siblings the other day. We actually had a debate. And they know that I'm a research head. Like, I watch YouTube videos. Sometimes I ignore people because
what you said. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah. No, I literally, or sometimes you say something and it stays stuck in my head. And like I'm hyper focused on it, and I'm like, she said this. Let me go home and look it up. Then I look it up, and then I fall into a rabbit hole. So they told me like, oh no, it's sometimes women don't, like, let's say if you work at a company, right? And I'll use me. I'm a paralegal. I know that I work hard. You know what I know my value, and like I said, I like my career. It's no shade to my career. I like it. I like being a paralegal. I would like to be an attorney one day. But I can tell you that there is guys that do less than me getting paid more. That's just the company stats.
Yeah.
And I can be doing the same thing as, let's say, John, or even harder than John, but John is getting paid more than me. And I've been in litigation. I've been working as a paralegal for almost 7 years now. So I'm a senior paralegal. I'm a senior litigation paralegal. And no matter what, there's always going to be a white guy that's getting paid more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that pisses me off. Yeah, like, so I make sure now that when I go into the companies, if I'm going for an interview, I'm asking for big dollars because you guys have it. So you're going to pay me because I work hard.
There you go.
So my siblings' counter argument was that women can't do as much as men can. Let me tell you why that's wrong, because I lift weights. You know what I mean? Like, I lift weights. I'm outside.
Wait,
yeah.
can you bring Jamila to the gym? She's been skipping.
So I do it at home. So I have kettlebells.
Lucky.
Yeah, I have kettlebells. I have dumbbells.
Lucky.
Yes, and I do it in the park too.
You know, every time
You
I
could
tell
come
her,
over though. We could
Okay,
do the
I got
park.
you.
Yeah.
every time I tell her to come to the gym with me, she hides.
You know, I think for me, maybe
Not every time.
Maybe you feel the same, but the reason why I got kettlebells and dumbbells was first it happened during COVID, but also like I just feel more comfortable doing it at my own pace, and I don't care what people got to say. You know what I mean? Like I'm losing this weight, I'm looking good, and I'm doing it. I'm watching Grow with Joe, whoever it is on YouTube.
Grow with Joe.
Yeah, and I'm doing my thing. It's really good. So we could do that. We could do a date.
We could do some working
Please
Yes.
say good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
You
need
saying
it.
it.
I
You
just
saying
want
it.
you to
Sean,
be
just-
healthy.
yeah,
saying it.
please,
Just
just
stop.
stop.
I just
Stop
want
while
you
you
to be
ahead.
healthy.
Stop while you ahead.
Wow.
Just
This is
Look,
like
next
abort.
time,
Yeah.
next time, no. Next time we have a female guest, I'm gonna make sure I bring a male guest so I don't get attacked like this again.
Wow, you feel attacked.
But
We
you
care
always
about
feel
your
attacked, so you
feelings,
good, right?
okay?
Mhm.
No, we care about your feelings, and we're listening to you, okay? We're
You
here
can
for
express yourself here.
you. Yes.
I'm expressing myself to the world. I'm getting attacked, guys, and I need your help.
Oh
I
my
need
gosh.
your help. But yeah, but before we start wrapping up and everything,
Yeah.
we have this saying that we always say, Jamila and I and our team, is that statements closes the mind and questions open the mind. And the
Okay.
reason why I'm saying this is because in your last article, which everybody got to go get, and it'll be in the show notes, so please pick it up. Do you have a discount code?
Not yet, but I can get
Not yet?
one. Yeah.
We're going to give you a discount code by the time this comes out. No worries. But so my question to you before we wrap this up, and you asked the question, so let's see if you had the answer to it, was ask yourself, what is a good life for me? Because knowing that, and just sitting here, just knowing that the little things that we've been talking about with your trauma, your deaths, working your jobs, being mom to people,
Yeah.
Life,
auntie,
life,
uncle, both shoulders, being cried on. What does a good life look for you?
Right now, I am living a good life. I'm overcoming trauma. I'm learning how to deal with it better. A good life for me ideally would be me having my condo in Puerto Rico, relaxing with my cat, and just chilling with my coffee and looking at my beach.
Cats and coffee.
Cat and coffee is my goal
I thought you was
right
a dog
now.
person.
I love all animals.
Okay.
I love all
You
animals.
chose a cat. I'm sorry.
Well,
Go
I got
ahead.
a Persian, so he's my baby.
I guess.
I have a little Persian cat, and then my best friend has a dog. So it's like
Right,
they
you
get
got
along.
It's balanced. You got
Yeah, there
balance.
is a balance going on in my life right now. But yeah, my life would be chilling. I'm not thinking so far like, yeah, that's it. Like I want to be more active with my writing. I know I have to get more out there in order to share my knowledge with the world and, my research with everybody. That's a goal of mine. My happy life would be writing. I'm working on a book that I've been working on for years. Yes, I've been working on this book forever, and it's crazy because when I started revising it, I was like, girl, you are crazy because, I was younger when I started. So now as I'm older and I'm going back to these pages, I'm like, what was I going through?
Crazy's good.
Yeah,
because
crazy is
It's a
amazing.
form of expression.
Exactly. So I want to have like a really healthy, open life as well. I don't necessarily want to say that I don't believe in monogamy, but I'm just going to throw that bombshell out there because it is something that we talk about here, right? But I do want to be able to do whatever I want. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, I don't know exactly in that term, like with relationships, what my happy life would be. But me by myself right now, like I'm happy. Like,
That's good.
working.
yeah,
That's
I have
good.
my hard days that I work through, but I love it.
Yeah.
Like I'm living,
Well, that's I can't argue that, right? You're living the
Yes.
best life.
I'm living.
And
the
it's
best
crazy
life.
you say that because, and the reason why I asked that, and with the title, Abandoning the Hustle, because, just the other day I was like, hey, are you taking and everything? You're like, you know what, Sean? That's when I knew you was about to get deep. He was like, you know what, Sean? I'm just on my grind right now, right?
Yeah, that's the best
And just-
answer because it's like, am I taken? Like, who's gonna take me? You know what I mean? Like, I don't wanna feel And like I said, I know that it's a hyper independence in me, which I am also working on. But I also, like, I pay my bills and I have the luxury of my car and my lifestyle and just doing what I want. Sometimes I'm writing for hours and I don't pick up the phone. You guys know I don't answer. I don't even post on Instagram.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like my sister has to knock on my room door and say, "Are you good?" Because I work from home. When I want to go out for a drive in the middle of the night, I am out and nobody's telling me nothing because I own me. I am taken by me right now. So when people ask me that, it's like, I don't even know what to say because I don't want nobody to get mad. You know what I mean? So,
stop worrying about what people think. Say what you gotta say.
Right. So,
so I say maybe.
Say what you want to say.
So tell the audience where they can find you, where they can follow you, and where they can read your articles, of course.
So my Instagram is This Bronx Girl Writes. That's also my website. It's exactly how it sounds. This Bronx Girl Writes. There's no other way. And you could also
spell
subscribe.
phonetically.
Yes, spelled the right way. Is this THIS. So you can also subscribe to the website. The subscription is free. I drop articles. When I am featured in magazines, you will see it on my Instagram. I'm working on the aesthetics of my Instagram, so don't hate me. I'm new to social media. But it's there. Everything is there. What you don't find on my Instagram, you will find on my website.
Perfect.
And go to Twitter.
And then once
And you can go to Twitter. It's Forever Ange. So Forever ANGG.
Yeah. Oh, so that's not spelled phonetically.
That is not spelled phonetically.
Got it.
But that goes back to my rapper name, guys. Ange with 2 G's.
Got it. So hopefully, when you do release this book, we'll get the exclusive first.
You guys will, for sure. I'm going to have to send it to you guys
Yeah,
first.
and we'll get the exclusive on it. And you have anything to say?
Just want to say we love you. We appreciate you.
too.
You are doing
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
And you are breaking down all these curses. And you're really making a difference in your family and your life.
Thank you so much.
So I'm proud of you.
I really appreciate it from you.
No,
You're
but
welcome. You're
because
welcome.
I see it and I just know that people are watching. People do see you.
Thank
You're not
you.
just seeing the guys. People do see you as well. And you got this. You're doing it right. Just keep going. Don't
Thank
stop.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And with that being said, thank you for listening to the Know Better, Grow Better show. Please go to your favorite platform, listen, share, like, comment, subscribe. And with that being said, guys, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.